So here we are back with another video. Check this out, folks. I'm gonna say for everybody who's in cryptocurrency for the long term, I should emphasize that. For the people who are in cryptocurrency for the long term, things are looking real positive right now. Things are looking real positive in terms of, you know, the beginnings of a bull market. Bitcoin is reaching all-time highs this year, not necessarily the same level of $19,850 or 20K in December 2017, but it's quickly approaching those levels and may go beyond that sooner than we think. When? Time will tell. That's all I can say about that. But those of us who are into crypto for the long term, we need to clap our hands because it's been a long time coming. A change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. So, I do want to talk about a couple key things that I think that's happening in crypto, and I don't see many people talking about it. Maybe I'll kind of like figure it out as I do this video and chop it up with y'all. Um, these companies are buying a lot of crypto every day. Within the last month alone, like let's say like a month or so, or maybe up to 2 months, we've been hearing news about this hedge fund manager or this private company or that publicly traded company or this institution, that institution, etc., 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 buying Bitcoin, and not just one or two, but thousands of Bitcoin. The greed, like we need to really, the greed is not just a phenomenon that regular average human beings experience, because you could also say that these people that run these institutions, these entities, are run by people who have high net worth, or individuals who manage high net worth individuals and corporations and entities and wealthy people and the rich. They're greedily buying up Bitcoin like it's nobody's business, including countries and including banks. I've seen lists within the past 3 years that identified entire countries possessing Bitcoin, like Bulgaria. Bulgaria was number one on this list that I remember I saw maybe last year, either 2018 or 2019. Bulgaria was number one with upwards of 200,000 or I believe more, perhaps 250,000 Bitcoins that they had in their possession from a raid that they conducted. The nature of the raid, I can't speak on it. But that's how Bulgaria alone was able to acquire hundreds of thousands of Bitcoins. So they say. And then you had other countries who also reported having thousands of Bitcoins. Then you have individuals who hold thousands of Bitcoin, and some of these individuals, and when we talk about the numbers, these numbers, right, they're so, like, some of these individuals, let me organize my line of thinking before I ramble too much, and I tend to veer off the topic and then come back and blah blah blah. For those of you who've been listening to me for a while, that's how I do. That's just how my mind works. Some of these wallets are considerably old, right? Some of the wallets that have thousands and thousands of Bitcoin are old. Like for example, one gentleman professed to have acquired. His name is Chamath Palihapitiya. I'm sorry if I butchered his last name, but Chamath P reported that he bought $80 when Bitcoin was at $80, and he bought 1 million Bitcoins back in 2013. He's also stated that he's given that trusted a custodian to hold on to his Bitcoin. He doesn't, he mentioned that he just rather have a company secure his asset. But one person, 1 million Bitcoins. Whether it's in one wallet or multiple split, whether it's been split in a bunch of wallets, this is what this one person has for himself. One individual out of 7+ billion. Think about how 2017 introduced the first fork of Bitcoin, right? With Bitcoin Cash. Now, Bitcoin Cash, the fork was 1-to-1. So if he held on to that 1 million stash of Bitcoin, he has 1 million Bitcoin Cash. And all the other forks that subsequently came after Bitcoin Cash. I'm saying these things to say that it's virtually impossible for the masses, and we all know that it's virtually impossible for everyone to have one Bitcoin or to be a one coiner or Bitcoiner, whatever you want to call it. It's virtually impossible by way of the nature of the scarcity of this asset. That's what brings to me when I think of why people say what Bitcoin does or why is it valuable and does it have any intrinsic value and whatever, what's the reason that gives it the price? It's scarcity. The fact that there will only be less than 21 million, and I say less than 21 million because so many of these coins, these scarce assets, have been lost forever. So we're dealing with less than 21 million. 18 or so million have been mined so far. And out of that batch, you have a great deal, hundreds of thousands and millions of them that are lost, and you have hundreds of thousands and millions of them that are in the hands of very few. Very few, comparatively speaking to the entire world. Very few. And people are behaving in a way where we follow each other in a way, right? You don't think that the large money, I dare to say smart money, doesn't follow smart money? If a billionaire talks about, how he's interested in Bitcoin, and talks to another billionaire, because I don't know if they rarely talk to average people like you and I. The second billionaire who's being told, that his billionaire friend acquired Bitcoin, he's going to inquire about it because people want to make more money. People want to keep their assets. People want to keep their wealth. Not necessarily keep their assets, but maintain their wealth to generate more, right? I think that's common sense. The people like you and I who are at the bottom are at a huge, huge deficit. A huge deficit. We're at a huge deficit. Because there's not many to go around. The greed factor is so raw, is so real. It's disgusting. Because now an asset like Bitcoin, that's decentralized. No one really owns it. Oh, well, I can't say no one owns it. Those who own the crypto, they own the crypto, especially if you have possession of your own private keys, etc. But if you have entities and individuals that own large portions of the Bitcoin, these centralized companies, high net worth individuals that own so much of this scarce hard asset, the world is left with the crumbs. The world is going to be left with the crumbs. And this is why I've also seen and heard over the years that the argument of why, Bitcoin is the first. Bitcoin is the first, the trailblazer, the leader, right? There will be other inventions or innovations, I should say, that are created to possibly perform or provide better use cases than Bitcoin in the future. But that's been sort of like what I've understood from many projects that have come out since to profess. Because it's now even today impossible. Today at 18,800 or whatever it is right now, it's virtually impossible for many to acquire it. That's why now people are talking about banks offering Bitcoin to their customers, or private, asset managing companies, the likes of Fidelity, BlackRock. Fidelity's been mining Bitcoin for a while, Ethereum as well, for years. But we're talking about, the other companies, the Black Rocks that have $7 trillion under management, along with Fidelity with $7 trillion under management. All these companies that have billions and billions and trillions of dollars that they're managing or at their disposal are buying this asset. It's for a reason. Right now, they're buying so much, not only because they know, because over the years, in the past 11 years, I mean, if I watched old videos with people that were just, talking how excited they were in the crypto community about Bitcoin. And I've heard different even investors say, all you need is one coin, all you need is one coin. And this was back 6-7 years ago. If you look at old videos, they have, individuals saying, all you need is one, all you need is one. Well, now one is almost impossible for many to attain. One is impossible for many to attain. And we know, because of the mathematics, the fundamentals of the coin, its network effects, we know that because of the nature of scarcity, once the demand increases, the price of this thing will no longer be 18,800. It will skyrocket, and time will tell when and how long, and it's limitless of how high this thing can go. Another thing that people talk about is that Bitcoin will become the world reserve currency, the world currency. That's hard. Maybe for the world will deal with Satoshis. They will deal with the drips and drabs. They won't deal with entire Bitcoins, like just to, in that aspect, they will just deal with the fractions of Bitcoin if it ever reaches that level. We're just dealing with Satoshis, pure Satoshis. That's just going to be the no. If Bitcoin becomes the world currency, that means the value of one coin, they say, will be upwards of $250,000 per Bitcoin to topple the US dollar. If that ever happens, people are going to be talking in denominations of Satoshis. And then again, going back to my original premise, It's those individuals, it's those companies, it's those countries that have thousands and thousands and thousands in their possession that will have the greatest say, that will have the greatest control. Once again, taking away from the decentralized argument or the decentralized nature, they will have, because those entities are centralized, they will have the greatest power and influence over what takes place in the world, in this market at least. But I would have, if it's the world one world currency, if countries are using Bitcoin regularly, like just to really safeguard, because their paper currencies or their fiat currencies are worthless, and they're adopting Bitcoin, the day that we hear, any country, maybe I have to do a little bit more research, because, we see how Zimbabwe and their currency is doing, of why Bitcoin is such a major player and cryptocurrency is such a major player in countries like Zimbabwe, Venezuela, etc. If the country stands and literally declares, why has China been mining Bitcoin? Why is Iran, enemies of the US, not trying to make this a political thing, but I'm just trying to be real, enemies of the US involved with crypto, involved with Bitcoin? Not just any crypto either. Not just any crypto. We're just talking about Bitcoin. They're not even talking about Ethereum, the number 2 crypto in the world. We're talking about Bitcoin. And the advancements and developments that are taking place on Ethereum is staggering. It's astounding. Like, you just have to just give respect where it's due. But we're not going to talk about Ethereum right now. We're talking about BTC, and in practical terms, how it affects us. And I've said this recently, and I still hold. I stand by this when I say I fear that this level of this opportunity by way of buying Bitcoin and acquiring Bitcoin to help level the playing field against the powers that be, against these central banks that are trying to introduce their own digital coins now, because they see where the future is going, against these governments, against just the fiat legacy system that's just been crippling countries for generations, except the elitists and the people at the top of the pyramid. That chance is slowly being taken away from us, because all of these institutions, it's going to get to a point, if this rate continues, we see where it's going. There won't ever be a drought. There won't be a drought of BTC. But what's going to be available, people will clamor, will be fighting over Satoshis. Never mind coins. Getting a fraction, like a quarter, will be a big deal. Acquiring a quarter of BTC will become a big deal. Like, we have to really understand that. It's going to be virtually impossible for people to acquire a quarter, a fifth of a coin. They will just only be able to clamor for 100,000 Satoshis, numbers like that. 500,000 Satoshis. It's just going to get to that point, because these companies are not letting up. The greed factor is disgusting with these individuals. And we still, right now, even though the United States, I'd say, in my humble opinion, the easiest way to on-ramp to acquire BTC, one of the easiest ways is opening up a Coinbase account. It's not the best option, but it's the easiest option for people in the US. One of the easiest options for people in the US. You gotta, KYC, do all the know your customer jargon, yada yada yada, and deal with their centralized policies and everything. They're like the bank of crypto right now, the way they're moving, compliant with all these rules, regulations, whatever. But even it'll get to that's what makes it easy for the regular schmegular average human being from the street who knows nothing about crypto to just say, hey, how do I buy $5 worth of Bitcoin today? Open up a Coinbase account. It's one of the easiest ways. You got to give up a lot of your information and privacy, bank account, and everything like that. But that's one of the easiest ways you can do it. If you don't want to, deal with decentralization or over the counter type of thing, or you don't have, like a regular schmegular type of person, that's what they have. That's what we have right now. And this same thing that Coinbase is offering, institutions, wealthy, rich ass people are buying. They do not want this. They do not want this in our hands. As easy as it's available right now is as easy as they're taking it away. Like, seriously, folks, for real. This is what's happening. And the gentleman I listened to a channel on crypto with Lionel. Once again, shout out to him. Go subscribe to his channel. The man provides news on a regular basis regarding crypto, and he made a great analogy in regards to mass adoption, right? This whole mass adoption hype and euphoria that we're finding ourselves, because all of this what we're dealing with right now reminds me of the fall of 2017, the fall leading to December of 2017, September leading to December of 2017. That's what this period right here reminds me of. Everything you talk about in crypto is booming except for the scams. Any crap shit coin that's out there can boom except for the scams. But the difference is now, this is not about retail. This is not about retail hype and people offering ICOs and you just throwing stuff in the ICO. This is different now. This is completely different now. When senators, politicians, banks, heads of corporations, hedge funds, institutions are openly declaring that Bitcoin is the thing, embracing it, this is what clearly shows the difference between the fall of 2017. This is one of the things that shows the difference between what took place in the fall of 2017 and what's taking place now. Because this is a gradual, steady upswing. I remember back in 2017, BTC was rising like at least a minimum of $1,000 to $1,500 to $2,000 a day, 1 week. It was crazy. Was rising in value and price value. It was crazy. And when it reached upwards of 20K, it didn't stay there long. It just dropped. Retail, people just got caught in the hype, the FOMO, fear of missing out, etc., etc. It's different now. Even though it's still sort of like I still see it in the air. People are getting ready to lose their minds. All rationality goes out the window. What was the term? Irrational exuberance. That's what we're beginning to see and will continue to see for a while. Folks don't want to lose. They know that for people who know, we know. But there's many people that are coming in who have been here, who should know better, are now getting, just anxious, and they're getting hyped, and it's this whole BitConnect feel with the whole ICO craze, with the whole whatever. You buy a coin pre-sale, whatever, $200, and then make a big fortune once the ICO whatever comes out, and blah 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 blah. This is the same kind of thing that's going on. Folks are getting ready to lose. All logic goes out the window, and that's crazy. Shouldn't be that way. History should teach something. But of course we know it rhymes. Because people like to forget quickly. I've seen people talk about projects that they're involved with in different chains, different blockchain projects that's allowing them to earn hundreds of dollars a day. But the thing about those projects is those projects don't have those projects are not proving to have lasted a long period of time, let's say a year and a half, 2 years. But they're getting it now, which, get it now while you can, because you don't know what tomorrow's gonna bring. So it's every day they on it. Every day they're like, woo, join this, join that, do this, do that, because I'm getting this bread right now, getting this money right now while you can. I mean, like quitting jobs and everything, going full time this way. But like this, just is the high level of risk is insane. It's reminding me of BitConnect. That's what it reminded me of. You people get lost. I'll tell you, all logic, excuse me, regular thinking, calm goes out the window. You just jump on the hype train. And that's not good. It's not necessarily good. It's not necessarily good. And I don't think this is why I say, like, people are not really highlight. I don't really see a lot of people in crypto talking about this. They talk about, oh, it's gonna be one world currency. Bitcoin is the thing. Yes, it is. Bitcoin is great, but it's gonna be the world currency. And here we go. Oh, a million Bitcoin, $1 million Bitcoin, $100,000 Bitcoin, $10 million Bitcoin. What if the dollar reaches parity to one Satoshi? That's going to mean Bitcoin will be $100 million. Blah 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 blah. See how, and you see how it's always compared to the U.S. dollar. Everything is compared to the U.S. dollar. Everything we could think of gets compared to the U.S. dollar. British pound, the yen, yuan, chuan, yuan, rupee, mupee, Bitcoin, BTC, Ethereum, everything gets compared to the US dollar. So going back to what I said, if Bitcoin reaches $250, this is what it'll take for it. At that point, it would have overtaken the position of the US dollar, and it would be number one in the world. Right now it's number 5 or so, 5, 6, 7, whatever. A few months back I saw it was number 8. Like, this thing was worth more by market cap, more than entire countries. Crazy. And then when you see that, right? You see that, and then you see that little groups of people have so much of it. Okay, going back to what I sidetrack. Mass adoption. The gentleman was talking about mass adoption, and he said mass adoption is like being at a party. Like, people show up little by little. Before you know it, you're wondering how everybody got here. But there's a large gathering, right? It's a party. So anyway, making videos and you get distracted by some weird ass noises outside. It's crazy. Anyway, so you show up at this party, and people show up at their own time. It starts as regular people, whatever, regular amount, not regular people, but a few people. Then it gets a little larger. Then before you know it, the place is jumping. It's packed. It takes a while though. It's not something that happens overnight. It takes a while. It takes a few hours, right? Sometimes quicker, sometimes less. But it was a great analogy, because I could see this is what's happening with crypto. If you have 1% of the world population, 1%, 7 billion, what? 1.5, 150 million involved with crypto, that's nothing. Our party is super small, and within crypto, many of us are not in Bitcoin. Many of us are in our own little thing. So it's going to take a while for mass adoption to take place. And then, first of all, you need to have a party with the big dogs. The big dogs now are just kind of getting it together with each other. All the billionaires and family offices and wealthy rich people, they're now kind of like, okay, they're catching wind of this exclusive party called Bitcoin, right? But they just kind of like trying to set the foundation for themselves and make sure their people are straight. That's why they're amassing so much. And then before you know it, that's how, once they laid that foundation down, they established that 1, 2, 3. Then they're ready to just, okay, market, we safe, we secure, we greedily got our stash. Now I'm gonna tell y'all, you should get into it, you should get into it, you should get into it, because I'm safe, I got my stash. That's how they behave. That's how it's working. That's how it's unfolding. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. So by the time Johnny come, Susie Lou or Mary Jane from whatever, it's from the street, from your neighbor, when you go convenience store, wherever, starts talking about, oh, could you, instead, Cash App or not cash, or send me Bitcoin, or crypto. It's gonna take some time before we get to that point. Even though you can do it with Cash App, but people don't really talk about sending crypto. When they talk about Cash App, they talk about paper money. They talk about Zelle. They talk about Venmo, and even PayPal. And you see what PayPal is doing now. You see what PayPal announced now, introducing crypto that way as an option. Robinhood been doing, and then that whole thing with Robinhood where you're not really acquiring the actual crypto. You never really own it when you buy it through Robinhood. You're not really owning it. But they have something exposing, somewhat exposing their clients and their customers to crypto. It's going to take some time. Mass adoption. People are, oh, mass adoption, mass adoption. It's not going to be right away. That's why you project. You have to project for years to come. People are talking about, the next two halvings. That's where we really going to see what's what. With Bitcoin in possibly 7-figure range per coin. That's going to be crazy. That's going to be crazy, because if this keeps up like that's what we're going to see, in my opinion. If the way they're gobbling up the coin every day, you're hearing news every day, good news too, not just FUD. Most of the news that we hear every day is something supporting the blockchain, supporting crypto, supporting Bitcoin all the way. Hedge fund investors are old money, all these weird names. People just like, where'd you come from? Oh, I see. You're trying to just usurp everything, huh? You're trying to take away from the common man. That's what I see what y'all do. I see what y'all do. You're trying to secure your interests because you're scared, because you see the value of the dollar is decreasing through various means, through debt, negative interest rates, quantitative easing, fractional reserve banking, which is crazy, hyperinflation throughout the world. Countries are suffering million percent hyperinflation. What is that? That's crazy. This year alone, this country has printed more money this year than the entire year that it's been in existence. Are you kidding me? You don't think that's watering everything down? But they want to just, they're afraid. They're losing their power. They're losing their wealth. They're losing their control. Not necessarily their wealth, but yeah, it's getting diluted. So they're afraid. So they want to put in something that where it could be retained and maintained. You think, you see, I wish poor people who are so interested in buying the latest designer bag or belt or coat or jeans or shoes could take a portion of what they're doing, take a portion of that energy and look into crypto, the part of the fourth industrial revolution. Just look into that. Just see what's going on over here. You don't have to pull the trigger. You don't have to put any skin in the game. You don't have to put any money, but at least you're aware. At least be aware. This is crazy. Folks are just It's crazy when you know something is going on and you're living it and you're seeing it, and other people are just so oblivious. People are just so oblivious and indifferent, complete apathetic, where they just don't care. Don't care. But ultimately believe in the dollar bill. Believe in the dollar bill. I'm not saying don't believe in the dollar bill. I'm saying understand that that dollar bill, the value of that dollar bill decreases every year. That same dollar bill, the value of it decreases every year. When you have opportunities here to own a piece of something that can possibly increase in value over time and generate future wealth, offer you a choice. We have choices here and it's available. We're not living in the times where we're getting whipped for reading a sentence. We're getting, well, kind of, we are in its different ways, right? The oppression is just evolved, but you get my point. You get my point. BlackRock wants the Bitcoin. If you want the Bitcoin, you can have it too. You don't have to have the whole thing either. At this point, it's beyond my means, it's beyond the means of many to just drop down 18,000. That's crazy. When in March it was 3,800. You understand? It could very well go down. Could very well, because that's a risk you take. But the math doesn't change. The supply is fixed. Hard coded. I mean, this is crazy. This is. But people don't care. Last thing I'm gonna say. Now I get it. The euphoria, the thing. If you're winning with a project that's providing you hundreds of dollars a day, that's not a bad thing. That's a win. That sounds like a win to me. I get it. I get it. In crypto, but see, people outside the world, they don't understand even what I'm saying right now. There's opportunities for people to earn hundreds of dollars a day in crypto during a freaking pandemic. During a pandemic, right now. But people, blind sheep, don't care, hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. They just don't want to be bothered. Period. Oh well, your loss. That's just what it is. At that point, can't save everybody. Try to give the information out. Oh well, but and it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. Let me tell you. So, smart contract. Oh man, the minds that have developed this technology, I have to tip my hat off to them, because you have such brilliant minds that are collectively working on decentralized projects all across the world that are bringing new levels of innovation and opportunities to the world. It's almost like it's not too good to be true, because it's happening. It's been happening for 11 and a half years. Actually, technically, Bitcoin is from the date the white paper was issued, I think it's 12 years, technically. But 12 years, they've introduced this by way of computer science, with coupled with cryptography, coupled with hash functions, coupled with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, where people could amass earnings. Crypto translates to money, daily basis. Smart contract. This smart contract phenomenon, it's a freaking phenomenon. I mean, it's a phenomenon. Those of us who've been in crypto, we take it for granted because we talk about it, we've been involved with it. It's just like a regular thing to us now. But there's so many people who are clueless as to what's going on. Right, this smart contract. Everything you hear about Bitcoin. Think about everything you hear about Bitcoin. The only caveat to what I'm about to say is, the whole thing about custody. Because people say, no, no keys, no crypto. You don't have your private keys, you don't have your crypto. Okay, we get that. This is all a risk, though, and never financial advice. But imagine there's a smart contract out right now that's providing staking of wrapped Bitcoin. You take your wrapped Bitcoin, you put it in this contract, on this Ethereum contract, smart contract, and it's issuing wrapped BTC by way of dividends. Now, it's technically what it's doing is allowing you to stake your wrapped Bitcoin, which is pegged 1 to 1 with BTC. The Bitcoin is held at a custodian, which is the thing that many people will just, not be happy about, and that's fine. Everyone has a choice to do what they want. But you're talking about a contract that's been working for 2.5 years. Better than 2.5 years. The code is similar to a code that's been working for over 2.5 years, that has just worked flawlessly, seamlessly, provides dividends whether people buy into the contract or sell into the contract. The key is to hold on to the tokens that the contract issues once you make your buys. You buy in for 10%, you sell for 10%, and you hold on to your tokens, and everyone who's in the contract earns dividends. Now imagine earning wrapped bitcoins, effectively staking wrapped bitcoins that you can use as you wish. You can use as you wish. You want to talk about bright minds that are in this space, that understand the purpose and the mission of crypto, and that are also always trying to keep the people in mind by way of the regular average Joe. Institutions and rich oligarchs and elitists are welcome to join the contract as well, but also giving the regular, honest, working person, or just people who are at the bottom, who are not aspiring to be rich, who can't, afford to buy a Lamborghini or fly private planes and jets and all this stuff, to interact with crypto by getting into the wrapped Bitcoin contract and earn dividends. Earn dividends in wrapped Bitcoin while witnessing everything that's going on right now. And this is a new contract. It's only launched in October. Brand spanking new. And folks, like a year from now, 2 years from now, people are gonna wish they got wind of what's taking place in the space right now. People are going to wish that they didn't spend their monies unnecessarily and took a chance on themselves, because when you're investing in crypto, it's you and the crypto, and very little third party interactions, very little, but it's you and the crypto. So you essentially you're investing in yourself. People are going to wish that they had looked at this time, they had got wind of this information, and coulda, shoulda, woulda, what they would have done, what they could have done, and what they should have done. They're going to wish they got into the projects that's out here right now that are killing it, helping people remain competitive in this space, because there are these huge, huge entities that don't want us to be competitive in it. What sense does it make to acquire 500,000 bitcoins? Like, if you don't want to be if you don't want to control anything, what sense does it make to have that much if you're not in it to be to overpower everybody? What sense? What sense? And this contract, this developer, a great man, I might say, introduced to the world, is helping to sort of contribute to leveling the playing field. To fight against these greedy souls out here that don't care about you and I, never will. All they're doing, all they're doing, all they're doing is selfishly buying up everything so everyone else can be left with the crumbs. When there's no more Bitcoin to just easily buy, guess what happens to the price? And guess what happens to their bags? Bags meaning the bags of Bitcoin, or the amount of Bitcoin they hold, they call them bags. Guess what happens to their bags? Skyrockets in value, because people are going to pay more for the crumbs that are left. That's the thing. And everyone should benefit from that, right? I'm eager to see what time is going to tell in the future. I'm very eager to see what time is going to tell in the future. Listen, folks, this was a long one, but if you hung out with me this long, you special. And I'm even gonna say you smart. No, but for real, seriously though, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for, lending me your time. And research is powerful. Knowledge, information is powerful. We're living in a very, very interesting times right now. Very, very interesting times. And when we're allowed to have opportunities staring at us in the face, and we could use those opportunities to improve the quality of our lives, I think that says a lot. And I think that shouldn't be left unnoticed, and nor should it be taken for granted. It shouldn't be taken for granted, because ultimately we don't know what we have until it's gone. Take care.